Tantor Audio, a division of Recorded Books, presents Griffin by Marie James, narrated by Shedlock and Kasha Kensington. Prologue. Griffin. "Marine!" My lieutenant bellows from the safety of the north-facing wall. The pitch of his voice causes a shudder to race down my spine. It takes all I have not to pull the mic from my ear. "Do you understand your mission?" My mission? We're supposed to be fighting for the good of the country. We're here in this god-awful sandpit to protect the people of this village. We're here to make their lives better, not to cause them more pain. Genocide wasn't on my list of things to do today when I rolled out of my rack back on base. "There are civilians, Lieutenant," I pant into my mic, my pulse increasing, becoming the only thing I can hear. He can't see the two families, but I can. "They aren't civilians," he spits. The venom in his voice is so thick I can almost feel his words land on my overheated skin, even though he's 20 yards away. "They're Haji, and it's your job to arrange their meeting with Allah." "Children, Lieutenant." I straighten my spine, blaming the sand swirling around us for the burn in my eyes. "At least a half a dozen of them." "You have your orders." Looking over my shoulder, I wonder where Bird, Killer, and Wooch went. They'd have my back, and 4 against 1 is way better than the shit I'm facing right now. "Just you and me, asshole." I can't. I beg him with my eyes, even though I know he doesn't give a shit. How the son of Morrison Shadow Griggs ended up with a commanding officer without an ounce of integrity and a broken moral compass, I'll never know. "Squirt told me no once." I don't miss the warning in his voice. He's just confirmed what I've suspected for the last month and a half. I fight for bravery, hands trembling as I stall for time, and I come up empty. "You have 30 fucking seconds, Griggs, or Longshot will solve both my problems." Risking another glance, I stare in the direction I know our sniper is planted. I can't see him, of course, and by the time anyone knows where Longshot is, their brains are splattered on the ground. I'm a fucking coward. A selfish piece of shit. Those are the thoughts that echo in my head as I compress the trigger and screams ring out around me. The tears now streaming down my face don't hinder me at all. Longshot isn't the only one true in his aim. Chapter 1. Griffin. "This food sucks," the guy beside me in the mess hall complains as he pushes his tray away. The hard plastic screeches on the stainless steel table, but I don't give the asshole any attention. He's as green as they come. Probably picked up a charge for punching his drill instructor in the face because he couldn't handle the first week of basic training. He doesn't have a damn clue what it's really like in the Corps. If he thinks the food sucks here, he's better off being discharged. He'll never make it out in the field. "Griggs!" I turn to look in the direction my name has been called, to find one of the correctional officers skimming the room trying to find me. Although I'm in the brig at Camp Pendleton, I respond the way I've been trained. I stand the way I've been taught, and I walk toward him with my head held high like I've been instructed, even though I'm filled with more shame than anyone could imagine. The guard turns without a word, knowing I'll follow him. My feet move of their own volition, but we don't leave the facility as I expected. Instead, I'm escorted to an office near the reception area, and it seems I'm the last to arrive. Both Diego and Dominic Anderson are in the small waiting area with displeasure marking their faces. I avoid eye contact with them, not surprised my own father couldn't make it. I'm actually glad he's not here, but my shame is renewed knowing that Dominic is the substitute. He spent 20 years in service to our country, gave me tons of advice prior to my enlistment, and here I am in trouble for selling drugs on base. The door to one of the inner offices opens, and I'm slow to look up. I react on instinct when both Diego and Dominic snap to attention. I'm already in proper formation when my eyes actually communicate with my brain. Before me is Brigadier General P.A. Halstead, the highest-ranking man on base. Surely this man isn't the one who handles mundane cases like my own. He's in command of nearly 200 square miles, with just this base alone. "Dom?" the general says, holding out his hand after he snaps his return salute. "General," Dominic responds with a quick grin on his face. "Get that out of here." To my surprise, Dominic slaps the general's proffered hand away and wraps the officer in a hug. I wait for the guard who escorted me here to lay my mentor out flat, but it never happens. Like old friends, they slap each other on the back before they untangle themselves from each other. General Halstead next offers his hand to Diego, whereas I merely get a quick nod. "Let's head back to the office for a little privacy," the general offers. A private reprimand is also different. Not once in my 4 years in the Corps has a superior bothered to care where they ripped into a Marine's ass before. As we head to another office, I'm the last in the line of Marines, the one who shouldn't even be considered a serviceman for the humiliation I've not only brought to the Corps, but also to the corpsmen in my family. "I didn't get much from the MP on the phone," Diego says as he takes one of the chairs across from the desk the general is sitting behind. Dominic takes the other chair, and I stand off to the side since I've been given no direct instruction. "Sergeant Griggs was caught selling marijuana outside of the PX 2 days ago," General Halstead says, reading directly from a file in front of him. "He's facing discharge." "Any chance of the correctional custody unit?" Dominic asks. General Halstead is shaking his head before the question is finished. "That's for junior enlisted only." I keep my eyes trained above Halstead's head, the whiteboard behind him attracting all of my interest. "He also spit in the MP's face when he was being detained," General Halstead says as he continues to read from the report. I feel, rather than see, Diego's and Dominic's eyes turned toward me, but I keep mine straight ahead. "That's conduct unbecoming." "Paul," Dominic almost begs, but I don't miss the resignation in his voice either. "He's a non-commissioned officer. Officer nonetheless. He's given 4 good years, awarded several meritorious promotions. He's a solid Marine." A lump forms in my throat hearing Diego go to bat for me. I don't deserve it, and more importantly, I don't want them to fight for me. My actions have a purpose, even though no one in this room will ever know why I've done what I've done. The general sighs as he closes the thin folder in front of him. "Listen, I can try for no court-martial. Possibly cut him loose with an other-than-honorable discharge, rather than a bad conduct discharge. It's the best I can do." "And what does that mean for his VA benefits?" I just want to get out of here. I need these men to stop talking as if I'm not in the room. I should be transported to Fort Leavenworth, where I would wait to be sentenced to death for the things I've done. "His VA benefits are going to be void no matter which outcome," the general reports. My eyes burn with the news. A complete separation. A disgrace to every man and woman who has ever laced up their boots to fight for our country. Dominic sighs, running a hand over his head of gray hair. "What's next?" "Take him home. I can take care of everything in his absence." General Halstead doesn't even look me in the eye when he stands and leaves the room. The next 20 minutes are blanketed by fog. I'm offered a set of nondescript sweats and required to hand over my utilities. I don't even get to keep my dog tags, and I'm anxious knowing I won't feel the metal under my shirt. I'm told that my holding cell has been cleared of my personal belongings, and that my possessions from my apartment have been recovered. I try not to flinch when I'm informed that all evidence of Marine Corps life has been removed from my belongings. One lonely duffel tossed without a care on the sidewalk is all I have to show for the last 4 years of dedicated service to my country. I'm seconds away from spinning around, tracking down the general and explaining what is actually going on. But as luck would have it, my eyes snag on the man I never thought I'd see again. The very man responsible for my nightmares and the tremble in my hands. To an outsider, my brief eye contact with Lieutenant Bradley Novo will go unnoticed, but every atom in my being is well aware of his proximity. "Captain," Novo says with a nod in Dominic's direction. Dominic returns his nod, a small grin on his face. He's not alarmed. Every Marine is a little narcissistic, even more so a man who spent the first 20 years of his adult life in the Corps. Dom doesn't think anything of it because, deep down, he kind of expects people on base to know who he is, even though he's in civvies. But I'm well aware of the warning Novo just issued. He's letting me know that he can reach me no matter where I go. Even my discharge won't keep him from getting to me if I open my mouth. "Let's go," Diego urges as he tosses my bag on the back of the SUV. "We have to swing by SDSU and grab Cannon." "Great," I mumble as I climb inside. My little brother bugging the shit out of me while we drive 12 hours back home is just what I need after being fired from the only job I ever wanted.
Chapter 2. Ivy. What do you think? I twirl in front of my roommate and close friend Melissa, trying my hardest not to knock anything over in the limited space of our apartment. The flare of my skirt catches on my bedside table, and I grumble as I free the fabric. "I think John is going to jizz in his jeans at the sight of you," she answers. My nose crinkles at the crude answer, but my lips still turn up in a smile. I love the way the lace overlay hangs just an inch or so lower than the dress shell underneath. The brush of the soft fabric on my legs feels amazing, mildly erotic, even if I let my mind wander in that direction. "You think he'll like it?" "Of course he will," she assures me. Melissa is always the boost to my self-esteem I can't seem to manage on my own. The man is a second-year law student. He didn't even know women existed until you poured soup in his lap 3 weeks ago. She has taunted me relentlessly since I accidentally bumped into his table while we were out to lunch. His bowl of soup somehow managed to land in his lap. Being the helpful person I am, I freaked out and tried to help him clean it up. Apparently, swiping paper napkins on the groin area of a virile man complicates things more than they help. "I can still see his red cheeks," Melissa says with a loud laugh as she falls back on my bed. "I think he was close to enough," I warn without venom in my voice. She's teased me numerous times about how 2 virgins are going to fumble through every first together. She finds it humorous. I'm honestly terrified. I don't know that he's a virgin for a fact, but it's clear from the conversations we've had that he's been focused on school since he was in junior high. He hasn't allowed for much else in his life. It makes me feel special that I'm the one he noticed, the one he pauses his studying to chat with. "What exactly are the plans tomorrow?" she asks, as she lifts her hands to inspect her fingernails. "Dinner and a movie, I think." Since the semester is over, we both have a little more free time, and we have the ability to see each other in person rather than quick texts and late-night video chats. "Lame," she responds, before she has a burst of energy that has her flipping over and staring back at me. "I say you go for it." "Go for it?" "You're heading into your senior year of college. It's time to pop the cherry." "It's way too soon for that," I argue. "It's been 3 years." I know she's referring to college, but Melissa and I don't have similar goals in life. I've only known him a few weeks. It's just sex. And have you forgotten what happened when my sister had sex the first time? I've only been back on campus for a week and a half, having spent the time prior back home with Gigi and the baby. So be smart and use protection. She rolls her eyes before flopping back over on her back. I'm not ready for that. I frown and turn back to the mirror. Do you think he expects that from me? John? She chuckles. Probably not. But he's not like any other warm-blooded male. He'd probably wait until your wedding night. I grin at the possibility before catching myself. I'm not thinking of marrying John. I hardly know the man. But the prospect of being a wife is thrilling to me. Call me old-fashioned, but I'd love nothing more than to keep a home and take care of my husband after a long day's work. You're doing it again. What? I feign confusion as I watch her in the reflection of the mirror. That thing where you disappear into the 1950s? She grins back at me. Life isn't like that these days. Men suck. They're too fickle and want instant gratification. Men aren't made for the long haul anymore. Wanting perfection is only going to lead to heartache. So what are you suggesting? Should I just be alone for the rest of my life? You'd probably be better off dating women. She says it with a smile on her face, but I know deep down she believes it. Melissa, however, didn't grow up in a loving home surrounded by other couples dedicated to their spouses. Devotion is all I know, whereas heartache and pain are all she's experienced. Our worldviews are completely different. I laugh at her blasé response. There are still good men out there. Like Griffin? My fingers stop their path through my hair, and I turn to glare at my friend. Why would you bring him up right now? She knows I've struggled with my unrequited feelings for my childhood friend. She also knows how hard it was for me to take a step back and accept that things will never be more than they always have been with him. Even opening myself up to the possibility of dating John and not shoving him in the friend zone as I've done with every other boy who has spoken to me has been difficult. Look. Her face falls as she shifts her body so she's sitting up on the edge of my bed. I didn't mean anything by it. I just know you're pining for him. And I don't want your obsession with the hot Marine to interfere with you possibly having a good thing with John. Confusion draws my brow in. You just told me I'm better off dating women. Now you're telling me John may be good for me? I think putting yourself out there is great. She clasps my hand in hers. John seems like a great guy. A knock at the door interrupts our conversation, and honestly, I'm grateful for the intrusion. Sometimes Melissa's negative outlook on life frustrates me, and I know she feels the same way about my positive view of lasting relationships. Look at you, Delilah says with a wide grin after I pull open the door. I would spin and show off a little for my oldest friend, but her fiancé Lawson is right behind her, and I've never been completely comfortable around members of the opposite sex. I want to do nothing more than turn right around to Melissa and point in his direction, showing her a good man that will do anything to make his woman happy for the rest of her life. But I refrain. Bringing outsiders into our argument won't help in the long run. What's up? I sweep my arm toward the living room, urging them inside the tiny apartment. You usually call before showing up. Tension tightens my muscles when I see Delilah twisting her fingers before she speaks. What's wrong? My mind immediately runs down the list of bad things that could have happened to the ones I love. I know this has to do with the family. Even though we've been in Providence for 3 years, we've mainly just stuck to each other. I only recently branched out in the last year because Delilah moved in with Lawson after they got engaged, and I had to find a new roommate. It's Griffin. Mentally, I'm an immediate wreck. A lump so big I'm certain it will never dislodge forms in my throat, and my muscles seem to lose their ability to hold me up. On the outside, I'm stoic and resigned. I always knew this could be a possibility. Fighting our nation's enemies is a dangerous job. The U.S. loses soldiers every day in battle. Have they recovered his body? I also know that in deep fighting, sometimes it takes a while for remains to be collected and sent back to the States. What? As if she's just now following my train of thought, Delilah's eyes widen and she lunges for me. No! He hasn't been killed. My head shakes. My hands tremble uncontrollably. Even though I should feel relief at her words, my body isn't as readily able to shut down the path it was already traveling. Gigi called me. Griffin got into trouble on the base in San Diego. Your dad and uncle went to go get him. Get him? That makes no sense. You don't just show up on base and take someone home. What did he do? Delilah looks back at Lawson before turning her sad eyes back to me. He was selling drugs. As if slapped in the face, I take 2 steps away from her. It's all the space I'm allowed before my back slaps against the wall. Drugs? That's impossible. He'd never even use drugs, much less sell them. I'm just telling you what Gigi told me. They left 2 days ago to get him. 2 days! I screech. Why am I just now hearing about it? She shrugs. I came as soon as she called. But she's got the baby and Hound just made it back. She's been distracted. I have to pack. I turn away from her and head toward my bedroom. I thought you were going home next month, Melissa says as I pass her. I have to go now. I pause a second before turning back to Melissa, Delilah, and Lawson. Why don't we all go? I plead with my eyes, knowing I need a buffer where Griffin is concerned. Delilah has always been a great one, and I know she won't travel without her man. You've always wanted to visit, I remind Melissa, before turning back to Delilah and Lawson. And you guys were just talking about a trip out there to see the baby. Sad smiles cross Melissa's and Delilah's faces, but they both nod in agreement. I need a little time to make arrangements at the shop, but I bet I can swing a long weekend, Lawson says, as he looks down at his woman for confirmation that this is actually what she wants to do. I think a long weekend is exactly what we all need. I agree. I head into my room to pack, knowing I won't be back to Rhode Island for a while. The text I send to John to cancel our date is short, explaining I have a family emergency and don't know when I'll be back.
Chapter 3. Griffin. Can you keep my shit until I find a place to stay? Cannon slowly blinks at me but nods eventually. Dad is going to want to see you. His tone is hopeful, and I know he wants to hang out. We haven't spent much time together in the last 4 years. More importantly, he wants to ask the millions of questions swarming around in his head that he didn't ask on the trip back from San Diego. At least he's mature enough now to hold that shit in until we're alone. Unfortunately for him, I have no damn desire to ever speak about what has happened in the last 6 months. Where do you plan to go? I watch Dominic and Kincaid as they climb out of the SUV. You have your room here at the house. Ignoring a second statement, I palm my keys and head toward my bike. I need a drink. The roar of my bike and the fresh New Mexico air on my face doesn't bring the calm it always has in the past. I'm nearly 13 hours away from the base, a lifetime for some people, and yet the tension in my muscles is still there. Jake's is a welcome sight, and I can't get my bike parked soon enough. The hole-in-the-wall bar has been around forever, and my parents used to come here to drink decades ago. Thankfully, they tend to stay closer to home these days. As I make my way to the front door, I observe that there are only a few cars and no bikes in the lot. Thank God for small favors, I mutter as I tug open the heavy wooden door. No one turns my way or yells my name when I step inside. They don't pause their conversations to include my arrival back home in whatever they're celebrating tonight. Not one person stands from their stool to ask why I'm here, or to interrogate me on what happened back on base. Yet shame and contempt for every one of my choices weigh heavily on me as I cross the floor to the stool on the far side. I don't recognize the middle-aged bartender, and he doesn't recognize me as I order a beer. Whiskey would work better, but as much as I hate where my life is right now, I'd never cause my parents more grief by wrapping my bike around a telephone pole. The disgrace I've already brought to my family is enough to last a man a lifetime. I'll have what he's having. Fuck, I hiss just as I feel a friendly slap on my back. You come into town and don't even call me? I give my oldest friend the best smile I can manage and turn to shake his hand. You know better than that. He shoves my hand away and wraps his arms around me for a hug. I tolerate the embrace, grateful he releases me after only a few seconds. Hey, man, I was going to call you, I lie. James rolls his eyes as he takes the empty stool beside me. His attention stays on me as if he's trying to read my mood, even when the bartender slides his beer across to him. How long are you back this time? My beer bottle holds all of my attention, my fingers working on a loose corner of the label as I decide whether to lie or tell him a partial truth. I'm back for good, I say without further explanation. I could have easily told him a few weeks and then made plans to move away, but just the thought of leaving my hometown crushes my soul. I've already given up so much already, and pure selfishness will keep me here. What happened? He asks with a huge smile on his face. Decide taking orders wasn't what you wanted after all? He'll never know how true those words actually are. But he also doesn't know that it's not the screaming of commands in my face and the motivational yelling in boot camp I have trouble with. Something like that. I mumble as I turn up my beer bottle and wish it was something 10 times stronger. What are you doing these days? Hoping the classic diversion technique works, I plaster on another fake smile and try to seem interested in his civilian life. I'm engaged, believe it or not. Ava and I are getting hitched. Ava Richfield? I ask, with honest surprise. The girl you dated through high school? He grins, that sparkle in his eye the same as when he tried to convince me in junior high that the girl of his dreams just walked into his life. At the time, Ava wasn't much to look at, but by the time we graduated high school, she was absolutely gorgeous. He smiles around the mouth of his beer bottle and gives me a wink. The very same. That's great, man. I offer my hand in congratulations, and thankfully, he takes it this time, rather than wrapping me in another friendly hug. Since you're back in town, you have to be there. Bachelor party was last week. We had a hell of a time. Hate that you missed it. Yeah, sorry. Why I apologize for missing something I knew nothing about, I don't know. I'll be at the wedding. Common courtesy forces those words out of my mouth, but my brain is already working on excuses as to why I'll miss it. How are things at the compound? I bet your family is glad to have you back home safe and sound. The clubhouse, I correct for the millionth time. My friends all throughout school had a fascination with the Cerberus MC. No matter how involved the guys were in our school and the community, some parents were still leery of letting their kids associate with dirty bikers, assuming the club was some sort of cult or haven for miscreants. James is one of the few people I ever invited to come hang out at my house. I never felt like I had to worry about him running his mouth or saying something ignorant around the guys. I don't think I'll be staying at the clubhouse or my parents, I explain. I normally wouldn't even bring this up to him, but James is one of those hometown boys. He knows everyone and everything that's happening. So you're looking for a place to stay? Westridge just opened up 3 new buildings. And this is why I mentioned it to him. Finding a place not on my parents' property is going to be easier than I'd hoped. I need something a little more secluded. Preferably someplace I don't have to sign a lease. I don't know what my future looks like. I also don't want my parents to have to settle or clear my messes if I end up leaving town, but I don't express this information to them. Last week at the bachelor party, Jared was asking if any of the guys wanted to stay at his grandparents' place. I don't think he wanted to ask much for rent. Said he needed someone to stay out there more as a deterrent to looters, since it's so secluded. Jared Franklin? James nods. His granddad died last year, but he's under contract with his company and stuck in Santa Fe for the next 2 years. Here. James flags down the bartender and asks for a pen before jotting a number down on a napkin. This is his number if you need it. Let me text him right now. It'll be easier. Thanks, man. I'll be right back. While James bends his head down over his phone, I head to the bathroom. I knew coming to Jake's ran the risk of running into someone I know, but my best friend from high school, the guy I used to tell all of my secrets to, is a little too close to home. I've been to war, and my childhood friend is a homebody and only ever leaves town for vacations. He's probably one of those people who thinks there isn't any fighting going on, and that I've spent the last 4 years scrubbing toilets with my toothbrush like he's seen in military movies. He has no idea how lucky he is to have experienced the shit I have. I sigh in relief when I step into the restroom to find it empty. The last thing I need is a chatty drunk, especially after the brief trip down memory lane I just took. After splashing my face with cold water, I look in the mirror, focusing on the new lines around my eyes and at the corners of my mouth. I look much older than my 23 years, and I feel damn near geriatric. War takes its toll on a person, but more than the constant moving and the lack of sleep, it's the carnage soldiers leave behind that ages them so quickly. We have a job to do, and even on a good day when a rogue lieutenant isn't forcing your cowardly hand, the things we do in the name of our country weigh us down. Blue eyes look back at me, almost identical replicas of my father's, and just the realization makes me sick. I'm not my father.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?